Hello, tribe, and welcome to Soul Sense Empowerment. Last week, we unpacked the inner critic. And what did we establish? That it is not the enemy. It's a sacred protector using fear and doubt as fuel. The original function being to protect us from shame, pain, and rejection. We also discovered that it develops in early childhood by internalizing judgments from other people, especially the adults in our lives, parents, teachers, and relatives. The key is not to silence it, is to understand it, reframe it, reparent it, and then redirect it. And this matters because that voice is shaping your life, your reality, and your lived experiences. It influences how you speak to yourself, and sadly, sometimes how you speak about yourself to others. It also affects how you try or you avoid to try, how you react, and how you recover from certain perceived failures.
This is Soul Sense Empowerment by Estar. Heal your mind and body, elevate your spirit, empower you.
However, once you learn to shift the way you relate to that voice, your entire life changes. I know maybe at this point, you may be still wondering if this work really matters. Let me show you what happens when your inner critic is running your life. It shuts down creativity, makes you terrified of failures. It turns life into a series of mistakes waiting to happen. It constantly compares you to others and makes sure you lose because you keep repeating the same false beliefs. It turns self-empowerment into a punishment, makes you feel unworthy of love, success, or even compliments. Makes mirrors feel like a battlefield. You don't want to see this. It blocks joy. And if that sounds familiar, there is nothing wrong with you. You've just given too much airtime to a voice that was never meant to be in charge for so long. And that's what we are about to change today in this video. Personally, for years, I lived in the shadows, not physically, but emotionally, mentally. I abandoned myself over and over again to make sure everyone else around me was okay. I ignored my needs, my own exhaustion, my own boundaries, just to please people who honestly wouldn't have done the same for me. I learned that the hard way. And at the time, I didn't see it for what it was. I thought I was being loyal, loving, helpful, kind. But the truth was, I was doing it out of fear, out of obligation, out of a harsh inner voice that whispered to me all the time, "You're only worthy if you're useful. Don't ask for anything. Don't be a burden. You need too much." They will leave. If you ask for anything, they will leave. And actually, one day, when I was in the depths of psychological agony, barely holding myself together, one of those people did actually leave because I needed something, because I finally asked, because I was finally able to be vulnerable and not the ninja everyone was accustomed to. That moment hurt, but it also opened my eyes. I was blind, now I see. That moment revealed the real work I had to do. Not just setting healthy boundaries with others and myself, but setting new terms with that voice inside me. The inner critic that told me love had to be earned the hard way. That being needed was more important than my mental health or my mental well-being. I'm not living by that voice anymore, and neither should you, neither should anyone. So, in this video, we'll go through a series of steps that I personally used to reparent my inner critic and give it a name. Now, we communicate as opposed to her disparaging me or telling me off. And that's why I named my critic Olivia, because she's sharp, intuitive, and she's trying to protect me in ways that were hurting me. Naming her helped me shift the power dynamic. So let's get to it. Number one, identify your inner critic. Let's start by getting to know the inner critic. But please note, not all inner critics sound the same, because the inner critic usually the head boy or the head girl, amplifies the voices of other sub-personalities within you. Maybe yours is the perfectionist, the one that keeps saying, you can't mess things up, ever. Don't start this until it's perfect. Or the task master. What? You need rest? Oh no, you haven't earned rest yet. Or you don't deserve it. Or the guilt tripper. You should be ashamed for even thinking that when you think about rest. Or you should have seen that coming when you make a mistake. Start tracking its voice. Give it a name. Make it visible. Bring it out of the shadows and into the light. Because once you see it clearly, you stop being unconsciously controlled by it. As I said earlier, I named my inner critic Olivia based on Olivia Pope from Scandal. She's sharp, brilliant, strategic, and always alert. But sometimes she forgets I don't need saving or protecting. But naming her helped me see that her voice isn't evil, it's simply burdened. Olivia in my mind is trying to protect me from embarrassment, from failure, from shame, from being unprepared. She's intuitive, yes, she picks up on things I miss, but when she's in overdrive, she stops me from trying. She keeps me stuck. So I have to tell her to take a seat back and chill. Then I invite my inner teacher, the part of me with wisdom. It's supportive and is on my side. It sees the lessons I can learn from whatever the inner critic sees as a failure. The inner teacher reminds us to be compassionate and kind towards ourselves and therefore others. And that's the shift. Seeing your inner critic not as a villain, but as a flawed protector who is working way too hard, but paving the way for the inner teacher to emerge. And as it says in Proverbs 20, verse 5, the purposes of the person's heart are deep waters, but one who has insight draws them out. When you name the inner critic, you draw it out of the shadows and into the light and start leading your inner world consciously. Step number 2, cognitive reframing. We are going to use a tool from cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, called reframing. Let's say the inner critic says to you, oh, you're such a failure, you're a disgrace, or you're stupid. Stop and ask yourself, is this true? And is this helpful? Then reframe it. Okay, I made a mistake, yes, but I'm learning and growing, and I'm not defined by that one moment of that perceived failure that made the inner critic think I'm a failure. And this is not toxic positivity. It's a kinder, more accurate truth based on spiritual wisdom. Instead of reacting, we respond. We take the thought captive. As in 2 Corinthians 10, verse 5, we take every thought captive to make it obedient to the truth. That doesn't mean denying your emotions. It means choosing which thoughts get to stay. Step number 3, mindfulness and compassion. Now, let's bring in mindfulness and self-compassion. Try this. Notice when your inner critic shows up. It might say, you're such a fool. You shouldn't have done that. Pause and say, thank you, Olivia, or whatever name you gave it, for trying to protect me, but I've got this. Use the floating balloon technique we talked about previously in another video. Picture the thought in a balloon, tie it with a string, and then cut off the string. Watch it float away. The thought came, you're grateful for it, but you're not keeping it. You are not pushing it down. You are acknowledging and then letting it go. Let go and let God, as I say. Step number 4, turn criticism into coaching. Once the voice softens, you can start to translate the messages. Ask, what is the voice trying to protect me from? Is it trying to protect me from failure, rejection? Then ask yourself, what would a kind, wise coach say instead? That's how you shift from self-attack to self-guidance. Listen to your intuition. That's how you grow without shame as fuel. Step number 5, build resilience. The inner critic won't disappear, but it can absolutely loosen its grip. Practice daily compassion-based journaling, affirmations grounded in truth, visualizing your inner supporter or inner teacher, and saying the opposite of what the inner critic is saying. You are not at the mercy of the inner critic anymore. You are the one at the wheel now. The journaling, the affirmation, choosing grace over shame, faith over doubt, love over fear. These are spiritual habits as talked about in Joshua. Choose today whom you will serve. This is inner work, isn't a one-time fix. It's a daily practice of choosing which voice you serve. Choose this day who you will serve. This verse isn't just about worship, it's about alignment. Every day you get to choose. Will I serve fear or faith? Will I follow shame or grace? Will I let my inner critic drive, or will I reclaim the will and follow the voice of truth, the voice of intuition, my inner teacher? You may not control the thoughts that show up, and you shouldn't, but you do get to decide which ones get to stay and which ones go. The choice is your power, and your peace is on the other side of that choice. So let me leave you with this. You are not your inner critic. You are the one who hears it. You are the observer. You are the one who decides whether it stays or steps aside, whether it chills or whether it tells you something, but you do something about it. Like Joshua said again, choose this day who will serve. You don't have to serve shame. You don't have to serve fear. You can choose compassion. You can choose growth. You can choose the truth. And that choice, over and over again, is how you become whole. So this was the final part of our 2-part mini-series. But your journey inward is just beginning, because once the inner critic softens or loosens its grip, other voices or sub-personalities begin to emerge or get louder. Your inner child, your pusher, the people pleaser, the rebel, the shy, etc. These voices are in the shadows, but they are also like hidden gifts. The parts of you you've tried to forget and banish to the shadows, they're there waiting to be heard. So in future videos, I'll be diving into some of these quieter voices, the ones in the shadows, the protectors, the parts of you still wanting to be seen. So if this series has opened something for you, share it, comment, and subscribe. And today, can you let me know what you're choosing? In gratitude, bye for now.